Coming up on this week's FAS TV, we're back in Laggan visiting Coul Estate as they prepare for the annual Carlisle May Spring Show and Sale of British Blues. This sale is the first time the estate has sold pedigree animals from their newly established herd. We learn more about the cattle and bluegrass cattle system on the estate from farm manager Alan McDermott, and his wife Lorraine discusses how the estate benefits the local community. Also, we hear from renowned livestock photographer Catherine MacGregor as she photographs the Coul Blues ahead of the sale. Catherine discusses how important it is to get a good photo, and she gives an insight into being a livestock photographer.
So this is Coul Estate. It's 9,000 acres on the edge of the Cairngorm National Park. It's a mixed sporting estate. We run 60 head of breeding cattle, pedigree blues and Highlanders. Some are pedigree, some are crossed. We also run 350 North Country Cheviot yows, potentially looking to up that to maybe 400. We've also got pheasant shooting and deer stalking on the estate as well. So bluegrass cattle is essentially the cross between a British Blue and a Highland, and we were taking them through selling them as in-calf heifers, which was working very well actually. It was getting good returns. They were averaging £1,800. We changed it slightly last year purely on the basis of cattle prices being so high, so we sold our heifers off at year-olds and we sold the calves off store straight off their mothers. It was just purely on a financial decision based on the way cattle prices were last year, but we're still continuing doing it. They're currently calving at the moment, so our next batch is on the ground. Pedigree Blues, they've been established now. This will be their 4th year, and this will be the first year we've actually got progeny for sale. So we've got a bull Thunderflash going to Carlisle and 2 heifers, Tiffany and Tequila, will both be down there, and that'll be the first of our pedigree animals. We have sold privately quite successfully, just bulls of a lesser standard, but Thunderflash we feel is worthy of a pedigree sale, so that'll be our first venture down there. Yes, so Carlisle is the premier centre in the country for blues. I think primarily because of its location, it attracts buyers from Ireland, Wales, England. So that is the home of British blues. So this will be our first time there, so it's quite exciting. Thunderflash is a 2-year-old bull now. He's bred from Solway Odin, which we purchased for 27,000. And his mother is Trencom Picamix, who was bought from Gail Ellis 3 years ago now. So he's very well bred and he's got great genetics, and genetics that not a lot of people will have, so I'm hoping that will be a good selling factor in him. So he was successfully shown as a calf through the calf shows. He did very well, and he was at the Royal Highland last year. He's always the youngest in his class, so he was always punching above his weight for his age. So he's sort of he's coming into his own now, so he's coming to his own at the right time. Tequila is 15-month-old heifer. She's bred from Solway View Rosie, who we purchased, who was the champion at Carlisle when we bought her for 16,500, and she goes back to the 27,000 Odin as well. So her genetics are phenomenal. She's probably actually the best heifer we've bred to date, but we just sort of feel we've got our progeny. We need to sell her. We need to turn out and show people we're actually breeding the right things. So we've decided to let her go. It was a big decision. I think a lot of her, but we think it's probably the right decision for the future of the breed and for Coul Blues to actually make a name for themselves. And the second heifer is Tiffany, who is a 2-year-old heifer, and she's bred from a Dragon Blue cow from Wales, and again back to the 27,000 Odin, and she's an exceptional heifer. She's got serious length about her and great legs, and for me it's what I'd be looking for in a blue cow if I was going to buy for breeding. She's maybe not as showy as the Tequila, but I think she'll be a better breeding cow maybe at the end of the day. Yeah, so I'm a big believer in social media. I think it helps sell, and I think you've got to put yourself out there. So we had Catherine MacGregor from MacGregor Photography in today to take some promotional photos of the cattle. It promotes them to a wider audience. You know, a great example was we sold hogs in Dingwall a fortnight ago, and I put them on social media, just a short video I made myself, and there was 3 bidders on the phone that day trying to buy that hogs. You know, ultimately they didn't buy them, but they pushed that price up. You know, so for the sake of a 5-minute video, you know, we probably put £20–30 on our hogs. So yeah, I think it's a very powerful tool that's maybe underutilised in the farming industry. Plan with the pedigrees, build them up. We need to get more heifers on the ground. We've currently only got 8 pure cows, but we run 20 recips, so we should be able to build rather quickly, you know, with all the recips. So the idea is to get up to 20 pure cows on the ground and maybe get away from the recip embryo side of things once we're established, and, you know, get down to more naturally calving cows. Embryo transplant at the moment gives you, you're getting more for your money out of your cow quicker. So I mean, the Rosie cow, for example, we've got 5 calves this year on the ground from 1 cow, so it's a quick way of getting established. So, but once we are established, I think we'll be looking to go more natural with it. We've bought good genetics. I don't see the point in flooding it with more genetics. I think what we've got is sufficient to work with, and, you know, we'll eventually just cut out the recip work once we get the herd to a number we're happy with. Yeah, there's been a slight shift in the Highland side of things. We were obviously showing the blues, and it just seemed a bit of a natural shift, to be honest with you. There was a dispersal of Highland cattle, very well-known Highland cattle, and we were lucky enough to get a pick of them. And we actually took one out and showed last year, who went champion Yorkshire and went champion in Wales. We bought very good breeding lines, so the obvious thing to do was to keep them pure. But it also allows me to take the heifers that are maybe not up to pedigree standard, and they can be crossed over into the bluegrass system, and it saves me buying in heifers, so it saves on the health status. You know, if I can breed my own replacements, it's a lot easier than trying to find high health cattle to buy in, because everything here has got a health status. We see Coul as a very community-based estate. We've bought the local cafe, and it's very successful at one cafe of the year this year. We still have plans to put a farm shop down there. It's just going through a bit of planning red tape at the moment, but hopefully once we get through that, we'll get a farm shop established and be able to put our own produce in it. We've also got the sporting side of the estate, where we've got the pheasant and partridge shoot and a duck shoot, and then the red deer obviously are controlled on the hill. So we've got great asset. You know, we could put venison, partridge, beef, lamb, all into the shop once we get it established. But it's yeah, just a wee bit of a red tape and process to get there. But it's in the pipeline. You know, that's the future aim of the place. Yeah, I think what makes Coul Blues unique is probably our location. As far as I'm aware, we're probably the furthest north pedigree herd of blues in the country. We've got a very short growing season here, which makes growing animals to this standard and size harder. Our cows are probably in a shed 2 months longer than they would be down south. You know, our grass quality won't be as good as it is further down the country, so we do rely on good animal nutrition. We blood test our animals regularly and monitor mineral levels to make sure they're growing. We weigh them once a month to make sure they're doing their optimum. But I think what the unique selling point here is, like, our bulls are out wintered, so they're fitter, they're stronger, and they're better on their legs. They're not overfed, they're fit rather than fat, hopefully.
My name's Lorraine, I'm Alan's wife. At Coul, I do pretty much anything that's required. My official title is admin manager, but I cover the office and the farm, the show, and just whatever's needing done. So when Kevin and Sonia moved to Coul, it was very important to them that the estate was integrated into the community. So they try, when possible, to give to local funds or to raise money for charities in the local area. They've obviously got the cafe at the village in Laggan and like to be part of the local community. So anything that we can do to raise some funds for local events or deserving causes, they do as much as they can. So back during COVID times, obviously large gatherings were not permitted. So Kevin and Sonia go to quite a few charity shoots throughout the year, and because that wasn't possible, they decided they'd have a little day at Coul with about 10 of us, and we had a great day. So the following year we thought we'd maybe invite a few more people along and try and raise some money, which ended up growing arms and legs. I think we had over 20 teams of 3 on that day, and it went from just a little clay pigeon shoot and a barbecue to a barbecue, Pims and Prosecco bar, a hog roast in the afternoon, a raffle, an auction, a ceilidh at night. And on that day we took in more than £26,000. So that was absolutely mind-blowing. We couldn't believe that we managed to take in so much money. So we've just continued it every year since to see what we can raise for local charities. So we try to raise money for deserving causes in the local area if we can. We've given money to the likes of the Highland Hospice, the Cairngorm Mountain Rescue, Mikey's Line, sort of established charities like that, but we also try to give money to the smaller causes in the area. For example, there's a little girl in Newton Moor who has cerebral palsy and a range of different medical conditions that mean that she requires 24-hour care. So when Kevin and Sonia met her, they decided to give her quite a large chunk of money just to try and give her some funds towards specialist equipment that she might not get on the NHS, and just try to make her life a little bit easier and help her parents out. So we've given to her for a couple of years now, and other small causes such as the play park in Newton Moor, we gave them some money to try and improve things for the kids in Newton Moor. So we've got a busy year ahead. Next up is obviously the charity shoot. After that we have Kevin and Sonia's daughter Jade's wedding, which we're all looking forward to. We then have the showing season, which is extremely busy for us, means that we're all over the country, but hopefully a few rosettes mean that it's worthwhile. I personally love being part of the Coul team. When we first moved here, I wasn't on the estate full time, so I felt I was missing out on what goes on here. So now that I'm here full time, I feel really part of the team and part of the community, which makes living at Coul and working with Alan just more enjoyable. It's a great place to be and to be part of Coul.
I'm Catherine MacGregor from MacGregor Photography. We specialise in the beef and sheep industry, marketing bulls and cows and sheep and all different every pedigree breed for breeders and AI companies, etc. We work mainly in the UK, but we also work quite a lot with AI companies abroad. We work in different places: Belgium, Germany, Czech Republic, to name a few. I was brought up on a beef and sheep farm with a father who loved showing, and so I'm quite used to the whole pedigree world, really. And I think probably to get started, I just knew a lot of people, which definitely helped. And then I just started it as a wee bit of a hobby, and then it just kind of butterflied. I think I actually just started off with one society, and then all of a sudden I was getting another one and another one and another one, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to cope. So and then I ended up expecting a baby. So at that point, as soon as I was expecting my first child, I thought, right, I need to get somebody else. I've got two girls work for me, Catherine Lawrenson and Louise MacArthur. So they're a very good help, and especially with me, I've got 4 children now, so it's not always easy just to run away from them, and having that extra help is great. And to be honest, we're so busy now, and with all the different societies, it means that, you know, if we're supposed to be covering an event for a society, and someone's not well, there's always like someone else that can fill in to cover it, which is very handy. Today it's quite nice because we've got a lovely background, and even just having that nice picture that catches somebody's attention, will make them see the picture before they even look at what's in the picture. So it's very important to get a good picture, because, you know, if you see a bull and he's standing really like narrow in front or really narrow behind, or he doesn't look well when he's walking away, which even a really good bull has, you know, sometimes you can catch a bad side of it, you know, like if you could have the most amazing bull with a bad picture, and if it just, it's really good, it's really bad, because like with word of mouth, you know, people say, oh, you know, I saw that bull and it was like too narrow, or it had this wrong, or it couldn't walk, or it had a swinging leg, or it had, you know, so it has got to be right to enable the people to want to go and actually look at the bull at the sale. But I just think nowadays it's completely different now, you know, like everyone used to go and take their bulls to the market, and everyone would go to the market to buy, whereas now loads of people are actually online. So like if somebody's like quite far away and they were too busy to get to the sale, which is quite often now on a farm, if they've seen something online, then they'll, you know, it'll give them, you know, they can go and buy it. Whereas if there's no picture of them or no video, then they're not going to be buying it online, which is taken away it could be taking away half of your customer base. Yeah, so with social media now, which is basically everyone's platform for marketing, it's just, you know, it's just so important to get the right imagery. And I mean, some people are really good at doing it at home, which is great, but others are maybe not so, you know, like there's quite a lot of people, they'll try and maybe take a picture with their phone, or, you know, and although they think it's a good animal, they know it's a good animal because they've seen it at home. If they just catch a wee bad angle of it, you know, it can just do a lot of damage. But I think, I mean, to be honest, for all it costs to get a professional photograph taken, we don't really, in the grand scheme of things, we don't charge a lot. It's not even a bid, you know. One bid on an animal, and if you can, you know, if you've got that marketing all over Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you know, it's worth its weight in gold, really. But yeah, it's really important to get, like, sometimes, you know, for instance, the other day I was trying to get a picture of a heifer, and, you know, it's on a hill farm with the sun going the wrong way. So, and you've got to be at this side of the wheel for the halter. So I had it all going down this way, the sun's coming that way, and, you know, like, it's a nightmare. So we had to, like, just halter about for hours trying to just get the right bit for the sun. It wasn't too bad down there today. But it's always quite nice if you can get if you're lucky enough to get a wee bit of sun on them, and then you've got dark clouds behind, you know, it looks really nice. But it does, I think, especially with black cattle, this one's not as bad, but if you're doing like an Aberdeen Angus or anything, if you're doing an Angus and you've just got, like, you've got nothing in the background, you just have white sky, it's so difficult to manipulate the colours, you know. Back in the day, you used to have to do that in the darkroom. We used to sit on the computer and do it, and I don't think people realise the amount of time you have to spend just tweaking these little things. And then also, if I'm, like today, I've taken them at a few different angles because, you know, sometimes you think, oh, they look really nice here, and then I'll go back on the computer and I think, actually, they suit this angle better. So I'll go through, like, say I've taken maybe 150 pictures of this bull, for instance. I'll sit and go through all of them, and I'll pick out all of the ones that I like the best, which might be 12 images. Then I have to go through the 12 images and try and maybe get them right away down to maybe 3 at the most. Even that, like, just takes so long. And then you sit and work on them. So yeah, it does. It's just, it takes a lot of time. It is actually a bit of an art, actually holding a bull for a photograph. You know, it's like sometimes you'll go to even at a bull sale when you have to maybe to do like 50 bulls outside, and actually the person that's holding the animal is probably half the battle. And if they're not used to, you know, if they're not used to it, which is not their fault, they might just not be used to standing a bull for a picture. One thing is you've just got to have so much patience, you know. And if we're at a new place, like today, I've turned up here today, And I've just had a quick look around and I just thought, you know, we've got a lovely wee kind of rustic field down there with nice rushes, which most people will like, don't go in the field with rushes. But I actually like it because it just shows you that, you know, these bulls are not brought, these bulls aren't from an arable farm. They've not got amazing grass, they're from the hills. You know, if they're outside, they're on like hill ground. And it's good to be able to show that on a picture. The main thing is you've just got to get like such a, you want to try and get like make them look the best that they can look, because at the end of the day, that's probably the best that animal's ever going to look when they're like, say, for, you know, that like if a beast wins the Highland Show, you know, or the Yorkshire or the Welsh, you know, it's such a huge accolade for the breeder. And it's something as well, you know, like as well as being able to sell progeny for that animal, they also have it on their wall probably for the rest of their life, you know. So it is really important. And then I think, like, we know, you sort of get to know everyone in the industry as well, and then you know, like they'll all be wanting a wee family picture at the show, and you know, so you've got all that to contend with as well. But I mean, it's understandable and it's nice. It's, you know, it's nice for them to have. I enjoy actually being out taking pictures, and if I took on somebody else, then I'm just giving everyone else the nice work, and I have to sit at home organising work and sitting on a computer, which it's not my thing. No. I love just being able to jump in the car and go away and go to a farm. That's like this sort of work is probably my favourite, because you get to be creative as well. You know, like I can go down with that bull and I can say, I want it to stand here, and I know what I'm looking for. Whereas if you go to a bull sale or a show and you don't have you know, you've just got to take them where you're told to take them, really.